This is the Mcdavid Pro Curve, and as a right-handed player, I always wanted to try this curve, and that's why I started this company, because I saw this left-handed pro stock curve that you could never get at retail, and I was like, I need that curve in my life. Everything about this curve is so nice, just a really nice amount of curve, not a square toe, but a semi-square toe, nice blade length, not too short, not too long. In summary, it's just really nice. The curve itself, I would say, is pretty similar to a P92. The blade shape is almost exactly the same as the E7 Iginla curve from Easton back in the day. It's like he took the P92 and the Iginla and then they made this sweet, sweet baby as their love child. You can see with that sort of dip in the heel, that's the most iconic part of Mcdavid's blade. If it doesn't have that dip, it's not the Mcdavid curve. End of story. If you look at the old Iginla curve, it has that exact same profile with that super small heel and the semi-square toe. That's why I think this is where he got it from. You can see beside the P92, the curve is pretty much identical other than obviously the shape of the blade. And flipping to the other side, you can see very clearly what I'm talking about here. The Iginla did not have that deep of a curve, it was a lot flatter, so he definitely worked some custom magic here. The Mcdavid curve has a lower lie of about 5, and it's also way flatter. There's no rocker at all. The blade's a little bit shorter than the P92, and the toe is more squared off than even the P88, but still not completely square. Most of the time Mcdavid's going so fast that he doesn't need to actually shoot, he just sort of flips the puck up, but this curve, surprisingly good for shooting. Normally when I'm trying a new curve, whether it's a toe curve, heel curve, P92 variant, whatever it is, I sort of know what I'm getting into, but this is the only curve out of all the curves that I've made that completely surprised me, and I was completely blown away by how well it shoots. I expected this curve to shoot like a P88 since it's more of a flat curve, not a toe curve, but it completely surprised me. Every shot's like a Tiger Woods stinger where it just keeps rising and rising, and it's good for both motion shots and standing shots. For shot mechanics, it's really good for those Phil Kessel snappers, but I think this is the best type of shot where you're planting, like as a righty, I'm planting my left foot and just sort of letting the curve do the work and letting them fly off. Like, these things absolutely fly. It's crazy. Normally when the Oilers go out and get the automatic win in overtime, it's Draisaitl doing the saucer passes, but I think Mcdavid tosses one up from time to time too. It's important to note that as a sauce connoisseur, it has to be very pure and it has to be a chop. It can't be like a wrist shot. So this curve for true traditional sauce is not all that good. If you're doing sort of those wrist shots, fake saucer passes, it's not bad. But for true sauce, I don't think it's as good as a P92. We're definitely heating up here getting into the stick handling. This curve needs to be able to maintain control at very high speeds. If you want to see people stick handling at high speeds, don't ask me to film, because I can't skate more than 3 strides without getting out of breath based on the amount of McDonald's I eat. However, I can tell you how good this is for stick handling. With the shorter blade, the semi-square toe, and the sort of mid amount of curve on this, it's perfect for choppy stick handling, just going side to side. Once you start trying to make those smooth moves, I prefer to have a little more toe, but for this type of stick handling, this might be the best curve that we make. I literally just said that for smooth moves, this curve isn't as good as other toe curves, so I'm about to contradict myself probably, but anyway, let's just go on with it. This curve just keeps on surprising me. I expected, again, not being a toe curve, that this wouldn't be good for making these smooth types of moves, but it was a really pleasant surprise, just like shooting with this curve. Normally with a flatter curve like this, I find, compared to a toe curve, that I have to roll my wrists over more to make the same move, so it's just not as easy. But I thought this curve was super smooth, all the moves were easy to make, I had good control over the puck. It wasn't like a P88 where I'm sort of afraid that if I try to pull one of these moves, I'm going to lose the puck, and I definitely wasn't wishing there was more toe when I'm trying to do stuff like pull a toe drag. I find the P14s really awkward for these types of moves, so this is almost like a better version of the P14. We've been surprised by shooting with this curve, we've been surprised by dangling with this curve, so it wouldn't be out of the question to be surprised by the one-timers, so let's find out. I said before with the flatter curve you should use sort of that half clapper, but I sort of just went for it here and it paid off. The one-timers were good, better than I expected for sure. Definitely not at the level of the line A curve or the OB curve or one of those big sort of wedgy curves, but still pretty good, pleasantly surprising. For shooting, again, completely surprised me. Those Tiger Woods stinger shots are like nothing I've ever experienced before with any curve, and I would say it's definitely better than a P92. You just have to get used to the shot style. I'm going to give it an 8.4 out of 10. I didn't love the saucer passes with this, definitely not at the level of a P92. I can only give it a 7.3 out of 10. With the almost perfect blade length here, not too short, not too long, and that perfect shape and good amount of curve, this one's going to be hard to beat when it comes to stick handling. I'm going to go with a 9.3 out of 10 for the Mcdavid curve. For dangles, I was again pleasantly surprised here. For a speed player, this curve would be perfect because with that lower lie, you'll be hunched over more and you'll be really comfortable carrying the puck. I'm going to give it an 8.3 out of 10 for dangles. I have to say I really like the way that the one-timers were coming off this blade, even better than I like a P92. I'm going 8.2 out of 10 for one-timers. With an 8.4 in shooting, 7.3 for sauce, 9.3 for stick handling, 8.3 in dangles, 8.2 for one-timers, the total average score for the Mcdavid curve is an 8.3 out of 10. That puts the Mcdavid curve in 4th place for the season. However, I did go for a skate recently, and the 2 curves I brought out were the Line A and the Mcdavid, so this is one of my favorite curves in the lineup, no question about it. I would pretty much recommend this curve to anyone, even defensemen. Like I said, with those shots where you're planting your foot, they rise up so quickly, which would be an absolute lethal shot from the point. For P92 users, P88 users, P14 users, this is a perfect curve that sort of combines all 3 together. It has the short blade from the P88, the shooting of the P14, and the all-around good playability of the P92. Before we check out for the week, I want to talk to you guys about our custom orders. So this is one that we did recently. This is the custom paint that you can do on a custom 5-pack. This won't be an option on the single stick customizer. If you want a custom graphic like this, you have to order a minimum of 5 sticks. So very, very soon I'm going to be launching the single stick customizer, but I'm also going to be launching a new customizer for the 5-packs where you can play around with different color options, do some different custom graphics, you can add your logos on there, all that type of stuff. That's the only real difference between the single stick customizer and the 5-packs is that you can do the custom graphics. On the single stick customizer, you can do every single spec that you want, right down to the shaft shape, and you can still do some level of customization with the colors. You can choose the stripe color on the bottom of the stick, but if you want that full custom look and the different colors and all that, you have to go with the 5-pack customs. So those are coming down the pipeline soon. Stay tuned, boys. Thanks for watching.